Nature often proves us wrong. Scientists once said these animals were gone forever, extinct, wiped out, never to be seen again. But they were wrong. Dead wrong. Most animals that go extinct stay that way. Once they're gone for good. Like dinosaurs. We're never going to see them walking around again. But sometimes, we mess up. We think an animal is extinct, and write it off in our history books, only to have it appear out of nowhere, alive and kicking. Remember our last video about animals coming back from extinction? Well, that was just the beginning. Today, we're looking at 11 more animals that refuse to stay extinct. These aren't just any comebacks. These are animals that shocked scientists and changed what we thought we knew about survival. From a giant bee that's the size of your thumb to a mouse deer so small you could fit it in your pocket, these stories will blow your mind. Some of these animals stayed hidden for decades, even centuries, before someone found them again. They survived in the most unlikely places, using tricks we never knew they had. Want to know the craziest part? Some of these animals weren't just hiding. They were thriving under our noses. Gilbert Potoroo. Most people have heard of kangaroos and koalas, but let me tell you about an Australian animal that's so rare that most Australians don't even know it exists. Meet Gilbert Potoroo, a small marsupial that's the VIP of the endangered species list. It's officially the world's rarest marsupial. Here's the wild part. For 120 years, everyone thought this little creature was gone forever. Scientists wrote it off, textbooks listed it as extinct, and the world moved on. But in 1994, something incredible happened in Western Australia's Two Peoples Bay Nature Reserve. A researcher named Elizabeth Sinclair was doing a routine survey for wallabies when she caught something unexpected, a living, breathing Gilbert Potoroo. This wasn't just any kind. Think about it. This animal hadn't been seen since the late 1800s. It's like finding a living piece of history in your backyard. The Potoroo isn't much bigger than a rabbit, with a curved nose, gray-brown fur, and a unique taste for underground fungi. These fungi comprise about 90% of their diet, nature's truffle hunters. But here's the scary part. Even after finding them again, these animals are hanging on by a thread. Today, approximately 100 Gilbert Potoroos are left in the world. That's fewer people than you'd find in an average school classroom. They're surviving in just 3 small populations, 2 on mainland Australia and 1 on Bald Island, where some were moved to protect them from foxes and fires. What makes this discovery even more impressive is how these animals managed to stay hidden for so long. They're masters of survival, coming out mostly at night and living in dense shrubland where predators have difficulty finding them. They found the perfect hiding spot and stayed there for over a century. Gilbert Potoroo isn't just a success story, it's a wake-up call. It shows us that sometimes the animals we think are lost might still be out there, hiding in the last places we'd think to look. Wallace's Giant Bee. Wallace's Giant Bee, the stuff of nightmares or a fascinating wonder of nature? You decide. This bee is an absolute unit, measuring up to 4 centimeters long. That's about the size of your thumb. Can you imagine that buzzing around your head? Here's the craziest part. For nearly 40 years, this giant bee was nowhere to be found. It's like it just vanished off the face of the earth. The last sighting was way back in 1981, and after that, nothing. Nada. Zip. Scientists searched high and low, combing through the Indonesian forests where it was last seen, but it was like the bee had just packed its bags and buzzed off. Fast forward to 2019, and a miracle happened. A team of researchers hit the jackpot in a remote part of Indonesia in the North Molucca Islands. They weren't even looking for the Wallace's Giant Bee specifically. They were there to study all kinds of wildlife. But as they trekked through the dense forest, they stumbled upon something extraordinary. In a termite nest high up in a tree, there was a single female Wallace's Giant Bee, alive and well, just minding her own business. The researchers couldn't believe their eyes. It was like finding a unicorn or a living dinosaur. They quickly snapped photos and took measurements, knowing they were documenting a moment of scientific history. But why is this rediscovery such a big deal? The Wallace's Giant Bee is a crucial part of its ecosystem. It's a top pollinator, helping to keep the forest healthy and thriving. Plus, it's just an extraordinary creature. I mean, a bee the size of your thumb? That's the stuff of science fiction. But here's the scary part. Even though we've found the Wallace's Giant Bee again, it's not out of danger. Far from it. The forests where it lives are constantly threatened by deforestation and human development. And because these bees are so rare, even a minor disturbance could wipe them out for good. So, the race is on to learn as much as we can about Wallace's Giant Bee. and protect its habitat before it's too late. The rediscovery in 2019 was a glimmer of hope, a chance to save this fascinating creature from the brink of extinction. But it will take much hard work and dedication to ensure the world's largest bee keeps buzzing for generations. One day, if we're fortunate, we'll be able to see Wallace's giant bee in person. But until then, we'll have to marvel at this incredible insect from afar and do everything we can to ensure its survival. Because in a world where so many species are disappearing, every rediscovery counts, and every creature matters. Vietnam mouse deer. Imagine a deer so tiny it could fit in the palm of your hand. That's the Vietnam mouse deer, also known as the silver-backed chevrotain. This pint-sized creature is the smallest hoofed animal in the world, and it's been playing the ultimate game of hide-and-seek. For 30 years, the Vietnam mouse deer was nowhere to be found. It just vanished into thin air, leaving scientists scratching their heads. The last confirmed sighting was way back in 1990, and after that, nothing. It was like the mouse deer had just packed its tiny bags and disappeared into the Vietnamese jungle. But in 2020, something incredible happened. A team of researchers decided to take on the ultimate challenge, finding the elusive Vietnam mouse deer. They knew it wouldn't be easy. The Vietnamese jungle is a dense, tangled maze of trees and undergrowth. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack, but with more mosquitoes and leeches. The researchers set up a network of camera traps, hoping to catch a glimpse of the tiny creature. And after months of waiting and watching, they struck gold. There was a bit of silver-backed mouse deer on the camera footage, just going about its business as if it had never been gone. The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. It was like finding a living fossil, a creature lost to time. And it wasn't just one mouse deer. The cameras captured dozens of them, thriving in the heart of the Vietnamese jungle. But here's the thing. The Vietnam mouse deer isn't out of the woods yet. Far from it. These tiny creatures are facing a significant threat: hunting. In Vietnam, the mouse deer is prized for its supposed medicinal properties. People believe its meat and organs can cure all ailments, from stomach problems to cancer. As a result, the Vietnam mouse deer is being hunted to the brink of extinction. Poachers are scouring the jungle, setting traps and snares to catch these little creatures. And because they're so small and rare, even a small amount of hunting can devastate their population. But there's hope. The rediscovery of the Vietnam mouse deer has sparked a renewed effort to protect this tiny treasure. Scientists and conservationists are working together to study the mouse deer's habits and habitat, and to find ways to keep them safe from harm. It won't be easy. The Vietnamese jungle is a prominent place with many threats. But if we can rally together and show the world how important these little creatures are, we can give the Vietnam mouse deer a fighting chance. So, the next time you see a picture of the Vietnam mouse deer, take a moment to appreciate just how incredible it is. This tiny creature has survived against all odds, hiding in plain sight for decades. It might stick around for many years with luck and hard work. Mountain Pygmy Possum. Picture this. You're hiking through the Australian Alps, surrounded by snowy peaks and rugged terrain. You're not expecting to see much wildlife here. This is a harsh, unforgiving environment. But then, out of the corner of your eye, you spot something small and furry darting across the rocks. You can hardly believe it, but you've just seen one of the rarest creatures in Australia, the mountain pygmy possum. For decades, this tiny marsupial was nothing more than a ghost, a creature known only from fossil records. Scientists had long since written it off as extinct, just another victim of the cruel march of time. But in 1966, something incredible happened. A group of skiers were going through the Australian Alps when they stumbled upon a shocking discovery. A living, breathing mountain pygmy possum, curled up in a ball and hibernating beneath the snow. It was like finding a living fossil, a creature that had somehow survived against all odds in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Since then, we've learned more about these incredible survivors. They're one of the few mammals in Australia that hibernate during the winter, tucking themselves away in cozy burrows beneath the snow. When spring arrives, they emerge to feast on insects, seeds, and fruit, fattening themselves up for the long, cold months ahead. But life in the Australian Alps is far from easy. These tiny possums face many challenges, from harsh weather to predators like foxes and cats. And now they're facing an even more significant threat: climate change. As temperatures rise and snowfall becomes more unpredictable, the mountain pygmy possum struggles to adapt. They rely on a deep, stable snowpack to insulate their burrows during the winter. But with less snow and more frequent thaws, they're being exposed to the cold. And as their habitat shrinks and fragments, they're being forced to compete for food and shelter with other species. But there's still hope for these tiny survivors. Scientists and conservationists are working hard to protect the mountain pygmy possum and its habitat, from captive breeding programs to habitat restoration projects. And as awareness of this incredible species grows, more and more people rally to its cause. It's not been an easy fight. The effects of climate change are already being felt across the Australian Alps, and the future is uncertain. But if there's one thing we've learned from the mountain pygmy possum, it's that life finds a way. This tiny creature has survived against all odds for thousands of years, and with our help, it might have a fighting chance. So, keep your eyes peeled the next time you hike the Australian Alps. You never know when you might glimpse one of these incredible survivors, a living, breathing reminder of the resilience and adaptability of life on Earth. Black Kokanee, deep beneath Japan's ancient lakes, a mystery hid in plain sight. For decades, the black kokanee, a peculiar freshwater fish, was thought to be lost forever, a casualty of the relentless march of progress. But sometimes, life has a way of surprising us in the most unexpected places. The last confirmed sighting of the black kokanee was in the 1940s. After that, the trail went cold. Despite extensive searches, not a single scale or fin was found. Scientists reluctantly declared the species extinct, another name added to the ever-growing list of lost wonders. But fast forward to the present day, and a shocking discovery was made. In the depths of one of Japan's deep, pristine lakes, a population of black kokanee was found, thriving in the shadows. It was as if they had been hiding there all along, waiting to be rediscovered. The story of the black kokanee's survival is about adaptation and resilience. These fish are not your average swimmers. They have evolved to live in some of the harshest conditions imaginable. The deep lakes they make their home are cold, dark, and oxygen-poor, a far cry from the sun-dappled shallows where most fish thrive. But the black kokanee has a secret weapon, a specialized hemoglobin that allows them to extract every last bit of oxygen from their surroundings. It's like having a built-in scuba tank, allowing them to dive deeper and stay down longer than any other freshwater fish. And that's not all. The black kokanee has also evolved a unique coloration that helps them blend in with their home's dark, murky waters. Their black scales are natural camouflage, making them nearly invisible to predators and prey alike. It's a remarkable example of evolution in action, a testament to the power of natural selection. Over countless generations, the black kokanee has honed its survival skills to a razor's edge, becoming a master of its domain. But even with these incredible adaptations, the black kokanee is far from safe. The lakes where they live are constantly threatened by human activity, from pollution to overfishing. As climate change alters the delicate balance of their ecosystem, the future of this remarkable species hangs in the balance. That's why the rediscovery of the black kokanee is so essential. It's a second chance, a shot at redemption for a species once thought lost forever. By studying these incredible fish and working to protect their habitat, we can ensure that they continue to thrive in the depths for generations to come. So the next time you're out on a deep, clear lake in Japan, take a moment to peer into the depths. You never know what mysteries might be lurking just beneath the surface. A forgotten species, a living fossil, a testament to the incredible resilience of life on Earth. The black kokanee may be small, but its story deserves to be told, a reminder that hope can still be found even in the darkest depths. Pygmy Tarsier. Get ready to have your heart melted by one of the most adorable creatures on the planet, the Pygmy Tarsier. This tiny primate is so cute. It looks like it just stepped out of a Disney movie. With its big, round eyes and fluffy fur, it's hard not to fall in love at first sight. But don't let its cuteness fool you. The Pygmy Tarsier is a survival master. For 80 long years, this pint-sized primate was nowhere to be found in its native Indonesia. It's like it vanished into thin air, leaving scientists scratching their heads and wondering if it had gone the way of the dodo. But in 2000, something incredible happened. A group of researchers was trekking through the high-altitude forests of Indonesia when they stumbled upon a shocking discovery. A living, breathing Pygmy Tarsier, just going about its business as if it had never been gone. It was like finding a needle in a haystack. These tiny primates are experts at hiding in plain sight. They spend their days snoozing in the treetops, only emerging at night to hunt for insects and navigate the dark forest with their incredible night vision. Yes, you read that right. The Pygmy Tarsier has some of the best night vision in the animal kingdom. Its eyes are so big they take up over half its head. But that's not just for show. Those giant peepers allow the tarsier to spot its prey from a distance, even in the forest's darkest, most profound parts. And when it's time to pounce, the Pygmy Tarsier is a force to be reckoned with. It may be small, but it's mighty, capable of leaping up to 5 feet in a single bound. That's like a human jumping the length of a bus. Pretty impressive for a creature that could fit in the palm of your hand. But despite its incredible adaptations, the Pygmy Tarsier is far from safe. Like many species in Indonesia, it's facing habitat loss and fragmentation as forests are cleared for agriculture and development. And because these primates are so small and specialized, even a slight disturbance to their ecosystem can have devastating consequences. That's why the rediscovery of the Pygmy Tarsier is so essential. It's a second chance, a shot at redemption for a species once thought lost forever. By studying these incredible creatures and working to protect their habitat, we can ensure that they continue to thrive in the high-altitude forests of Indonesia for generations to come. So, the next time you see a picture of a Pygmy Tarsier, take a moment to appreciate just how incredible it is. This tiny primate has survived against all odds, hiding in plain sight for decades and adapting to one of the most demanding environments on Earth. And with a little bit of luck and hard work, it might stick around for many more years to come, melting hearts and blowing minds with its big eyes and even bigger personality. Chacoan Peccary. Buckle up because we're about to embark on a wild ride through the heart of South America, where a creature that was once nothing more than a ghost in the fossil record has come back to life. Meet the Chacoan Peccary, a species that has defied the odds and proven that sometimes extinction isn't quite as final as we think. For years, the Chacoan Peccary was a mystery, a puzzle piece that didn't quite fit. Its bones were scattered throughout the fossil record, hinting at a world that once was. But as far as scientists knew, this ancient creature had long since vanished from the face of the earth, just another victim of the inexorable march of time. Until one day, in the wilds of South America, something incredible happened. A group of researchers were exploring a remote region of the Chaco, a vast expanse of dry forest and savanna that stretches across Argentina, Paraguay, and Bolivia. And there, in a moment that would go down in scientific history, they stumbled upon a small herd of Chacoan peccaries, alive and well. It was a discovery that sent shockwaves through the scientific community. The Chacoan Peccary, a creature lost to time, was suddenly back from the dead. And not just one or two individuals, a whole population, thriving in one of the most inhospitable environments on Earth. But how had they managed to stay hidden for so long? The answer lies in the Chaco itself, a vast, untamed wilderness that has remained largely unexplored and untouched by human hands. In this rugged landscape, the Chacoan Peccary found a refuge where it could live out its days in peaceful obscurity. But the story of the Chacoan Peccary is far from over. Now that we know this incredible creature still exists, the race is on to protect it and ensure its survival for generations to come. And that's no easy task in a world where habitat loss, hunting, and climate change all take their toll on vulnerable species. Fortunately, dedicated conservationists and scientists are working tirelessly to study the Chacoan Peccary and develop strategies to keep it safe. From habitat protection to captive breeding programs, they explore every avenue to give this remarkable species a fighting chance. But they can't do it alone. It's up to all of us to support these efforts and raise awareness about the plight of the Chacoan Peccary and other endangered species. Because when we lose a species, we lose a piece of our planet's rich tapestry of life, a thread that can never be replaced. So the next time you hear about a species that has come back from the brink of extinction, take a moment to celebrate the incredible resilience and adaptability of life on Earth. And remember the Chacoan Peccary, a creature that has proven time and time again that sometimes, even the most unlikely survivors can find a way to thrive in a world that is constantly changing. It's a reminder that there is always hope, even in the darkest times. And it's up to us to nurture that hope and fight for a future where every species has a place in the world, no matter how small or obscure. Because when we protect the Chacoan Peccary, we're not just saving a single species, we're safeguarding the very fabric of life itself. New Guinea Big-Eared Bat. In the dense, misty rainforests of New Guinea, a creature lurked unseen for over a century. With ears so big they seemed almost comical, the New Guinea Big-Eared Bat had a face that was hard to forget. But for 120 long years, this elusive bat vanished without a trace, leaving scientists to wonder if it had disappeared forever. The last time anyone looked at the New Guinea Big-Eared Bat was in 1890. After that, the bat vanished into thin air. There are no sightings, no recordings, and no evidence at all. It was as if the species had never existed in the first place. But fast forward to 2012, and something extraordinary happened. A team of intrepid researchers ventured deep into the heart of New Guinea's rainforests, determined to find the lost species. Armed with the latest technology and an unwavering determination, they scoured the forest, listening for the faintest hint of the bat's distinctive call. And then, out of the darkness, they heard it. The New Guinea Big-Eared Bat's unmistakable echo bounced off the trees and reverberated through the night. It was a sound that hadn't been heard in over a century, a ghostly echo from a long past. But this was no ordinary echo. The New Guinea Big-Eared Bat possesses one of the most sophisticated echolocation systems in the animal kingdom. Its oversized ears and highly specialized vocal cords allow it to navigate through the dense rainforest with unparalleled precision, detecting even the tiniest insect from meters away. It's an adaptation that has allowed this species to thrive in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. But it's also an adaptation that has made it incredibly vulnerable to the threat of habitat loss. You see, the rainforests of New Guinea are under siege. Logging, mining, and agricultural expansion eat away at the island's pristine wilderness, destroying habitat species like the New Guinea Big-Eared Bat, which depend on them for survival. As the forest fragments and disappears, so do the creatures that call it home. It's a sobering reminder of the fragility of life on this planet, and the urgent need to protect the world's remaining wild places. Because when we lose a species like the New Guinea Big-Eared Bat, we lose a unique and fascinating creature, and a piece of our planet's rich tapestry of life. But there is hope. The rediscovery of the New Guinea Big-Eared Bat has sparked a renewed effort to protect the island's remaining rainforests and the incredible biodiversity they contain. Scientists and conservationists are working tirelessly to study this species and develop strategies to ensure its long-term survival. And that's where we come in. By supporting conservation efforts and raising awareness about the plight of endangered species, we can all play a part in protecting the world's most vulnerable creatures. Because when we save a species like the New Guinea Big-Eared Bat, we're not just preserving a single animal, we're safeguarding the fabric of life itself. So, the next time you hear about a species that has come back from the brink of extinction, take a moment to marvel at nature's incredible resilience and adaptability. And remember the New Guinea Big-Eared Bat, a creature that has defied the odds and proven that even in the darkest of times, there is always a glimmer of hope. Giant Palouse Earthworm. Deep beneath the rolling hills of the American Palouse, a creature stirs. It's an earthworm, but not just any earthworm. This is the giant Palouse earthworm, a behemoth of the underground world that can grow up to 3 feet long. And for 30 years, this elusive creature was nothing more than a ghost, a myth whispered among farmers and scientists alike. The last confirmed sighting of the giant Palouse earthworm was in the 1980s. After that, it was like the worm had vanished into the earth, leaving no trace of its existence. Scientists searched high and low, digging through the rich soil of the Palouse in hopes of finding even a single specimen. But the worm remained elusive year after year, earning it the nickname, the American Ghost Earthworm. But why is this worm so hard to find? Part of the answer lies in its size. At up to 3 feet long, the giant Palouse earthworm is one of the largest earthworms in the world. But despite its impressive stature, this worm is incredibly rare, with population densities estimated at less than 1 worm per acre. And then there's the fact that the giant Palouse earthworm spends almost its entire life underground, rarely venturing to the surface. It's a creature of the deep soil, burrowing through the earth for food and shelter. It only infrequently emerges, usually after heavy rains or during mating season. But in recent years, something extraordinary has happened. Sightings of the giant Palouse earthworm have started to trickle in, giving scientists and worm enthusiasts alike a glimmer of hope. In 2005, a graduate student stumbled upon a single worm while conducting research in the Palouse. 2010 researchers captured 2 live specimens, the first confirmed sightings over 2 decades. These sightings have sparked a renewed interest in the giant Palouse earthworm and the unique ecosystem it calls home. The Palouse is a region of rolling hills and deep fertile soil stretching across parts of Idaho and Washington state. It's a landscape heavily impacted by agriculture, with much of the native prairie grassland replaced by wheat fields and other crops. But despite the challenges it faces, the giant Palouse earthworm has managed to hang on, clinging to the remnants of its once vast habitat. And now, with renewed scientific interest and conservation efforts underway, there is hope that this incredible creature can be saved from the brink of extinction. It's a story that echoes across the planet, from New Guinea's rainforests to the American West's grasslands. Everywhere we look, species are threatened, pushed to the brink by habitat loss, climate change, and other human-driven factors. But as the giant Palouse earthworm reminds us, even the most elusive and unlikely creatures can surprise us with their resilience and tenacity. So, the next time you find yourself walking through a field or garden, take a moment to think about the incredible diversity of life that lies just beneath your feet. And remember the giant Palouse earthworm, a creature that has captured our imaginations and reminded us of the wonders that remain to be discovered in this incredible world we call home. Edwards pheasant. In the misty mountains of Vietnam, a bird of breathtaking beauty once roamed the forests. With its shimmering plumage and haunting call, the Edwards pheasant was a true gem of the avian world. But as the country descended into the chaos of war, this magnificent creature vanished, never to be seen again. Or so we thought. For decades, the Edwards pheasant was nothing more than a memory, a ghost that haunted the dreams of birdwatchers and conservationists alike. The last confirmed sighting was way back in 1928. And as the years turned into decades, hope began to fade. The lush forests of Vietnam, once a haven for this rare and elusive bird, had become a battlefield. The sound of birdsong drowned out by the thunder of artillery and the roar of helicopters. As the war raged on, the Edwards pheasant slipped further and further into the mists of legend. Even after the fighting ended and the forests began to heal, there was no sign of this remarkable bird. Many feared the worst, that the Edwards pheasant had been lost forever, a casualty of the conflict that had torn Vietnam apart. But in 2019, something extraordinary happened. A team of researchers, armed with camera traps and an unwavering determination, ventured deep into the remote forests of Vietnam. And there, captured on film for the first time in nearly a century, was the unmistakable image of an Edwards pheasant. The news sent shockwaves through the conservation community. Edwards pheasant, a bird written off as extinct, was alive and well, hiding in plain sight in the dense forests of Vietnam. It was a moment of pure joy and wonder, a reminder of the incredible resilience of the natural world. But the story of Edwards pheasant is far from over. As more and more sightings pour in, scientists are racing to learn everything they can about this elusive bird and the threats it faces. Habitat loss and poaching remain significant concerns as the forests of Vietnam continue to shrink, and the demand for rare and exotic wildlife persists. But there is hope. The rediscovery of the Edwards pheasant has sparked a renewed commitment to conservation in Vietnam, with local communities and international organizations coming together to protect this incredible species and the forests it calls home. And what a species it is. The Edwards pheasant is a bird of almost mythical beauty, with iridescent blue-green plumage that shimmers in the forest's dappled sunlight. Its long, sweeping tail feathers are a deep, rich chestnut tipped with a band of pure white. Its face is a vivid red and black mask with piercing eyes that seem to hold all the forest's secrets. It's a bird that has captured the hearts and imaginations of people worldwide, a symbol of the incredible diversity and beauty of life on this planet. And now, with the Edwards pheasant back from the brink of extinction, we have a second chance to ensure that this remarkable species thrives for generations to come. So, let us celebrate this incredible rediscovery and use it as a reminder of the work that still needs to be done. Because in a world where so much has been lost, every species counts, every bird matters. And with dedication, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to conservation, we can ensure that the Edwards pheasant and all the other incredible creatures that share this planet with us have a future as bright and beautiful as their plumage. La Palma giant lizard. Picture this: a remote island lost in the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean, a place of rugged cliffs, ancient volcanoes, and lush, verdant forests. This is La Palma, one of the Canary Islands, a hidden gem that harbors an incredible secret. For centuries, this island was home to a creature that existed nowhere else on Earth, the La Palma giant lizard. But as the years passed, the lizard vanished. Explorers and scientists searched high and low, but found no trace of this elusive creature. As the centuries turned into millennia, the La Palma giant lizard faded into legend, a ghost that haunted the cliffs and crevices of the island. For 500 long years, it was as if the lizard had never existed at all. Until one day, in 2007, a group of intrepid hikers stumbled upon something extraordinary. A lizard was high up on a cliff face, basking in the warm sun, unlike any they had ever seen. It was massive, nearly 2 feet long from nose to tail, with shimmering scales and piercing eyes. The hikers couldn't believe their eyes. They had rediscovered the La Palma giant lizard, a creature lost to science for half a millennium. The news sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Researchers and conservationists flocked to La Palma, eager to study this incredible creature and learn its secrets. And what they found was astounding. The Palma giant lizard, it turns out, is a true survivor. It had managed to cling to existence on the steep, rocky cliffs of the island, hiding from predators and foraging for food in the crevices and crannies. Its powerful claws and muscular tail allowed it to easily navigate the treacherous terrain, while its keen senses kept it alert to potential threats. But the lizard's rediscovery also brought to light its many challenges. Like many island species, the Palma giant lizard is incredibly vulnerable to outside threats. Invasive species, such as feral cats and rats, prey on its eggs and young, while habitat loss and degradation threaten its already limited range. In response to these challenges, conservationists have sprung into action. They've launched a series of ambitious protection efforts, working to control invasive species, restore degraded habitats, and raise awareness about the plight of this incredible creature. One of the most promising initiatives has been establishing a captive breeding program. By carefully selecting and breeding individuals from the wild population, scientists hope to create a safety net for the species, ensuring that it can survive even if disaster strikes in its natural habitat. At the same time, efforts are underway to engage local communities in protecting the Palma giant lizard. Through education and outreach programs, conservationists are working to build a sense of pride and ownership among the people of La Palma, encouraging them to become stewards of this remarkable creature and the island it calls home. It's a daunting task, but one that is filled with hope and promise. In the end, the story of the Palma giant lizard is a story of resilience, of the incredible ability of life to persist and thrive in even the most challenging of circumstances. And as we look to the future, we can take heart in knowing that with dedication, passion, and an unwavering commitment to conservation, we can ensure that the Palma giant lizard and all the other incredible creatures that share this planet with us have a fighting chance at survival. So, let us celebrate this remarkable rediscovery and use it as a catalyst for action. Because in a world where so much has been lost, every species counts, every lizard matters, and together, we can build a future in which the Palma giant lizard and all the other wonders of the natural world can thrive for generations to come. Conclusion. These remarkable stories of rediscovery remind us that nature is full of surprises and resilience. From the tiny Gilbert Potoroo to the massive Wallace's Giant Bee, each species has demonstrated an extraordinary ability to survive against all odds. Their reappearances challenge our assumptions about extinction and offer hope in an age of unprecedented environmental challenges. However, these rediscoveries are more than just fascinating tales. They are urgent calls to action. Many of these species, despite being found again, remain critically endangered. Their habitats continue to face threats from deforestation, climate change, hunting, and human development. The fact that these animals survived undetected for so long suggests that other extinct species might still be out there, waiting to be rediscovered. As we move forward, these stories inspire us to strengthen our conservation efforts and protect the world's biodiversity. Every species plays a crucial role in its ecosystem. Losing even one can have far-reaching consequences. The return of these extinct animals gives us a second chance, an opportunity to right past wrongs and ensure these remarkable creatures survive for future generations to witness and appreciate.